So this is how Manchester United have been lining up recently this season. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is mainly because I feel a lot of fans have been giving Casemiro a lot of unfair stick. The reason behind, why Casemiro has looked so poor this season, and the reason why Manchester United themselves have been performing really, really poorly, is actually down to the fact that Manchester United simply have just not found the right balance. They have not found the right balance between midfield and attack. It's that simple. United have just not found the correct balance between midfield and attack. It's that simple. And if you can see from here, you just look at how far Casemiro is apart from Bruno and how far away he is from Mount. There's a reason why every time Manchester United lose the ball, Casemiro, and there's a turnover on possession, Casemiro has to deal with 3 ongoing players going the opposite direction. And the reason why that's such a worry, for United is that any turnover in possession, they just get absolutely nailed. And it's that simple, really, because Casemiro here is expected to deal with virtually 3 different. Casemiro here is virtually expected to deal with 3 different types of threats when United lose possession, because Mason, Mount and Bruno just can't get up the field quick enough. So if you look at it from this point here, if we divide the pitch into 3 lines, So essentially, if you break down the pitch like this, Casemiro has got, in every section of play that Manchester United have, Casemiro is essentially just by himself. He's isolated from Mount, he's isolated from Bruno, and then essentially what happens is you've got 3 midfielders who can literally just roam wherever they want, in whatever formation that they want, and it's just Casemiro left behind in midfield. Now, the one thing a lot of teams have done is that no teams now play with a sole CDM. Even City, the whole reason why they have inverted fullbacks is so when possession breaks down in midfield, these 3 come together, so you've got 2 people to deal with this threat, and Bruno, whoever's playing that wide role, you would see track back. Like, there was that instance in the season where Jack Grealish tracked Salah all the way back here, and he put a tackle in on Mo Salah over here. United's wingers are, to be fair to them, Anthony and Garnacho are willing to track back, but you can only do that so many times before you get tired. It's not possible to expect Garnacho and Anthony to track back all the time and then run back. So one thing United have to experiment doing is, in their build-up phase, when the ball gets turned over, is turning this into a back 3 and playing Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka in inverted role. If Wan-Bissaka doesn't have the qualities for it, Martinez should step up, just like how John Stones does. Martinez should step up into this thing here. So you then at least have 2 players that can at least help. One player can help Casemiro deal with this threat of 3 midfielders. It gets even worse because, as you know, Tottenham did, is when sometimes they'll drop Son into the middle here, and you've got 4 players in the build-up. Now, the problem that Man United have been facing is also, you can't see it here clearly, but there's also a gap between what else is really poor is that when Rashford gets the ball, let's say round about here, right, he's so far away from goal. But the most annoying thing about Rashford is, and this is not his fault by the way, because like I said, Rashford is not a striker. He cannot play down the middle on his own. He can play on the left and he can play from the right, although everyone knows that his strongest position is playing down the left. He can play, as Mourinho experimented in that win over Chelsea when United played a 3-5-2, Herrera, Man, Hazard. I think that's one of Rashford's best performances in a United shirt. He can play in a 3-4. He can play with a 2 up front, where someone like Lingard or Martial can, hold the ball, and Rashford can make runs into the box. He can go out wide. He can go out here. But Rashford by himself, he's simply not good enough to play down the middle. So, that Rashford can't play with his back towards goal. But the worst part about that is, when Manchester United recover possession and they drop Bruno back and then they get Mount back, and they drop Mount back, United's outlet is to straight away look for Rashford. That's what they do. That's what Man United's outlook is. They go straight for Rashford. But when Rashford receives the ball, he doesn't have the skills or the quality under pressure when a defender follows him, or when he drops deep, and you've got players that are touch tight to Marcus Rashford. He doesn't have the ability to, hold the ball, and he doesn't have the ability to look out wide to find passes. So what essentially happens is Rashford gets the ball and he lacks that ability to find Garnacho or Anthony, or to play it in through there, or to play it there, or simply to hold it, and then give it back to Mount or give it back to Bruno. So Rashford simply cannot play down the middle either. So this is essentially why United have been so poor, is because they don't have the correct balance between midfield and attack. So now we've spoken about, why Man United have been so imbalanced in midfield. This is one logical way to fix this, is by having Martinez, playing as an playing the John Stones role. That's, City use for John Stones, is I think Martinez can technically play there. And United can then use Martinez and Casemiro in the build-up play. And then Eriksen can, drop deeper. And this is how United can progress the ball. If they do have, instead of just relying on Casemiro, but then this is another problem that United can encounter, is the width between Eriksen and Bruno. They might be too far apart, but Eriksen's passing range and footballing IQ is a lot better than Mount, and Eriksen's positional awareness is so much better, and Eriksen is press resistant. He can get onto the ball, find Anthony, Bruno, Garnacho, or United can drop Bruno onto this side over here as well, and can develop like this. There are possibilities to explore. If Casemiro can't find a way out, Bruno can drop deep, Eriksen can come wider, Rashford can then drop deeper. These are possibilities to explore. But the problem this all comes down to is whether Martinez is good enough to be playing this role here. This role, I don't know why, hold on. So this role over here is becoming very important in football. We're seeing a lot of teams, Liverpool use it with Arnold, City use it with Stones. We saw Emerson Royale play it for Tottenham against Brentford. We've also seen Chelsea use it briefly with Reece James dropping in it. this role for Manchester United, it has to be sorted out. Ten Hag, to be fair to him, has tried with Wan-Bissaka coming in here. He wasn't a fan of that. Luke Shaw has shown a lot of promise on this side of the field, on the left-hand side, so maybe Luke Shaw can drop in to this role here.
The thing is, Luke Shaw can play this role here because he is good on the ball. He can drive forward with the ball. He can pass. Luke Shaw is capable of playing this role here. He can, carry the ball forward. He can release the ball. He can go wide with the ball. He's got a decent range of passing on him. He can cross the ball. The only problem with Luke Shaw playing in this type of role is does he have the positional awareness? That's something that Amrabat can do a lot better, is that Amrabat is more familiar with this role. You see Arsenal do this with Partey. They don't necessarily play with an inverted fullback. They put Partey in this role and trust Partey to almost do a job at right back sometimes. But Amrabat can really play this role better than even Eriksen, because Amrabat's a lot more mobile, he's a lot more agile, he can, track back quickly, he can run back a lot more quickly than Eriksen, he has a lot more mobility than Eriksen in that field. So Amrabat is absolutely pivotal for United. He can slot in right next to Casemiro, he can, he's got a good range of passing, he can ping the ball out wide, he can ping it through the centre. Amrabat's range of passing and the way he can dictate and control the game is something United, can really benefit from. So it's just very important that Man United do land Amrabat this window, because if Amrabat fits in next to Casemiro, Manchester United, can look at restarting their season from scratch and try to get a playing style in as well. So it's very important United do land Amrabat.